Welcome to the story of the sacred cow and the sacred ham. I actually have two stories on this subject. The first story about the sacred cow, I originally heard in my shamanic training with Natalie Griffin, and it goes like this. There was a man who lived in a village, a small village, with his wife, and he used to go up the mountain to this spiritual master to learn from him. He spent many years with this master and lived a very fulfilling life with the things that he learned, until his life was no longer fulfilling. And he thought maybe that his time with the master was over, right? And it was time for him to move on. His practice had plateaued and he was ready to move on. So he went up the mountain and he told the master. And the master said, "Oh, okay, well, if you're moving on, that's great. Let's celebrate. I'll come down to your house and I'll see what's going on, and we'll have a feast." And the man said, "Oh, wow, that's amazing," because the master had never come down to his house, so he was so excited. He went home and he told his wife, and she was all excited. She wanted to meet this master she had heard so much about, and they got to work. They cleaned the house, they washed the windows, they cleaned up the yard, they decorated the house, they put all of their fancy china and dinnerware and crystals, and they polished it all up, the crystal glasses and shiny silverware and fine china. And then they went to the market and they bought only the best ingredients, and they prepared a lovely feast. The master came down for the feast and they were talking and they're having a great time. The master says, "What a beautiful house with beautiful decorations." He was so happy to visit the man's wife and to meet her, and they were talking, having a great time. And the master said, this cheese and this cream, I've never tasted anything like this. What is it? And the man says, "Oh, that is the milk from my sacred cow. We make these dairy products and we sell them. That's how we survive here in this little village." And the master says, "Oh, wow, I must meet this cow. Can you take me to see her?" And the man says, "Yes, let's go visit the sacred cow." So he takes him out to the barn, and here's this exquisite cow. She has sparkly eyes, and she has a shiny coat, and like the sunlight hits, and it's like rainbow colors coming off of her shiny coat. And the master's like, "Wow, this is an amazing, amazing cow. Never seen a cow like this. She is certainly one of a kind. May I take her for a walk? Let's take her for a walk." And so the man says, "Yes, let's take her for a walk." So they were walking by the river with the cow, and they were talking, and then the master takes out a knife and he slashes the cow's throat and pushes her into the river. And the man's like, "What have you done? You killed my cow. That is my sacred cow. There's only one like her. She's unique. She's one of a kind. She's how we survive here. What are you doing, master? How could you do this to me?" And he goes home and he tells his wife, and she bursts out crying, and she is so mad at the master. "What are you doing? I invite you to my house. We make you this meal, and you kill our sacred cow. How dare you? Get out. You evil, evil man, get out." The master says, "Okay, I'll leave. One day you'll thank me." "No, we won't, they say. And he goes back up in the mountain. 1 year later, the man goes back up the mountain to the master's house and says, "Master, remember how you said that one day I would thank you?" "Yes." "Well, that day has come, because the past year we moved, right? My wife and I, we packed up, we left that small village, we went and we traveled to a larger village, this new up and coming place. And you know what? It's so much better. We have our own shop in the marketplace, and we have doubled our income. We have a higher standard of living, and we never would have taken that risk. We never ever would have left the village and the country if you hadn't killed that cow. So thank you." Right? So that's one version of the story. Another one, I'm going to call it the sacred ham. I found it on Ramsey Solutions. It was on the internet. There was a man, and he bought this exquisite ham from the county fair. And he brought it home and he showed it to his wife, and his wife was like, "Oh, that is an amazing ham, right? The most expensive ham, I bought it for you, let's eat. And she's like, oh, cool, yeah, this is a great ham, let's eat. So she takes the ham and she chops off the end of it and she puts it in a pan. And the husband's like, what are you doing? You're ruining my ham. Why'd you cut off the end of my ham? That was a perfect ham. It's expensive. What are you doing? You ruined it. And she's like, I don't know. That's just how my mom prepared it. She used to cut the end off before she put it in the pan. That's how you cook a ham. He's like, why would she cut off the end of the ham? And the wife goes, come to think of it, I'm not really sure. Let's call her and ask. Calls up her mom. Mom, why do you cut off the ham before you cook it in the pan? And the mom was like, well, I don't really know actually, now that I think about it. It's just the way that your grandmother did it. I just learned that from my mom. So they get grandma on the phone, right? Like three-way calling, right? Grandma, why do you cut off the end of the ham in the pan, right? What's going on with that? Grandmother starts to laugh, right? She's laughing and she's like, I don't know why you two do it, but I cut off the end of the ham because it wouldn't fit in my pan. So, two versions of the same story. The first one of the sacred cow is, right, the couple, they're not on the right mission, they're not on the right path, they're putting all their energy into this mission that's not for them, it's not fulfilling, right? So therefore they're gonna get results that they're not really satisfied with, right? And in the second example with the ham, it's a little bit different. So they are getting too caught up in the process. They're getting too caught up in the action steps rather than looking at the big picture and seeing the ham for what it is, which is fine the way it is, right? So two versions of that story. So if you want to find out, like, what are your sacred cows? What are your sacred hams? Right? What is in your life that maybe you're putting a lot of energy into and you're not getting a lot of good results from? Or action steps you're taking that might be sort of like wasting your energy and like ruining your exquisite ham or whatever that might be in your life. I can help with that, right? So go ahead and fill out the application and schedule a call. And on our call together, I will help you find out what those things are in your life so that you can get to work on integrating them, right? If it's a sacred cow, it's time to slay it, right? It's time to slay it and move on, right? It's a limiting belief that's holding you back, right? Slay it and move on. And if it's a sacred ham, you're putting your energy into something that probably isn't serving, therefore stop doing it, refocus on your mission, and then you can take a different action step in the right direction. All right, and we can figure that out all in a call. All right, 45 minutes about. So yeah, go ahead and fill out the application and schedule a call, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.